The process that your provider follows with you may lead to them starting discussions about setting a date for inductions. What is an induction? It is a date for you to have your baby. If you start to have your baby and you don't have it within a certain time frame, the end outcome for you to get your baby is very likely to be a C-section. So I want people to remember induction basically equals C-section. um, in this um, in this outlook here, because I would be hopeful that you will have a wonderful natural birth during your induction, but that's not what usually happens. There are many things that uh, create the cycle of induction and C-section. And this is another section that has a lot of evidence-based research, and you're going to get it by filling out the feedback form at the end of this video. So, inductions. It is so common. It is like as if the dentist is setting your next cleaning appointment. Your provider will naturally go into discussions about inductions and set a date, right? It's no longer safe. I feel comfortable if we set a date. These are some of the things that might happen. But I want you to know that behind that, it might be easiest for the provider, right, for you to set a date to have your baby. And that's easy for them. But for you, if you're not feeling ready or your body doesn't feel ready at that time, you're basically going to end up with a cesarean. Because if you feel pressure and stress that it is not happening fast enough, which happens because you're in their care, you're in the hospital system, and if it particularly is your first baby, you're going to need a bit more time to adapt to giving birth. So that time span may be more than 24 hours, but when you go into a hospital system, if you most likely, if you spend more than 24 hours in a hospital, you're going to have that baby by C-section. I'm not saying that's statistically 100% true, but it is very common. That outcome is, I would say, oh, you're scheduling an induction. Oh, so you're ready to have a C-section. That's what I ask people. Um, you don't realize what you're doing because your doctor recommended it. That's their job, to set a date for you to safely have your baby. And if it is longer than what they're comfortable with, you're going to have a date. That's when they have switched to say that, yes, this is the latest possible date. You can choose to have your baby, and that is the induction date. And they don't want it to go past 40 something or whatever. You'll hear these discussions coming up as you get closer towards your due date and your body is showing or not showing progression in getting ready for labor. Providers will also tell you that they believe that the risks of not inducing is greater than waiting. Um, if you want to wait, it's your decision to wait. Because you will have someone telling you, you should have the baby, you should have the baby. Everyone all around you is seeing you're so pregnant. You should just have the baby already. That is the stress that I imagine that you would be feeling. And you don't want to feel that way because you can feel your body. Does your body feel ready? That is a big part of what we do to support someone who's having a baby. How are you going to tell me, am I ready or not? I think my body will tell me when I'm ready. Um, there are some common other reasons why people get induced and get an appointment made for induction because um, and I want you to pay attention to these because if you are told this, second guess it right away, get this information, bring it to your provider, or you may need to find another provider. These are just with the steps I would take if you're having someone forcing you to make this appointment based on any of these things here. So, number one, I said they might not even give you a reason and just say, okay, the next appointment that we're going to have is going to be an induction. And you don't realize, oh, that's the day you're going to make me have my baby. And if I don't, then it'll probably come out by C section. Remember, this is what it means. Don't just use the word induction, C-section. Like it is the next thing that will happen if the induction doesn't go well. If they tell you, wow, you have a really big baby, however big your baby is, your body is designed to birth them. So even if they are big or not, your body will need to take more time or figure out how to for you to have this baby. It's not going to be larger than what your physical vaginal canal can take. And yeah, it might take longer to heal, but the suspicions of larger babies are not even usually true. They overestimate, and when the baby comes out, they're like 6 pounds. You're like, okay, that's not a big baby. Um, uh, Another reason is if you had your waters broken and it's over a certain time period, they'll say all these risks and whatnot, but waters breaking doesn't necessarily means that there is a time frame. There's other things to consider. Um, and then the big one is going past your due date. Um, Quick story here. This is a long time ago, though. This would barely ever happen here again. My sister stayed in like about a month longer before she was born, and she had a full head of hair. But she was under medical surveillance because my mom had something not great happen in her first pregnancy. So for this one, they were really careful. So she lived at the hospital for basically a month, waiting for my sister to be born. And that's a great story that I love to tell people because I'm very surprised and I love that she had that support. My mom also told me like she basically volunteered at the hospital for a month when she was pregnant because she wasn't going in labor. So what else should she do? She's not just hanging out. She's not just hanging out at the hospital. She's, going around and helping, staying busy. So um, if you feel like you're going to go past your due date, I hope that your provider is going to work with you so that you continue to feel calm and relaxed. As long as everything continues to be well, um, it might not be as long as my sister, a whole month. It'll probably just be a few more days. So if we can wait and see, and if it's safe, then by all means, let's just wait and see. I have a couple resources here. I think they're really useful. I'm going to make a video for each to explain it more deeply, how you will use it. These are very, very, I do this with all my clients, so we should definitely take a look at it and download the additional research information that I'm going to send you when you fill out the feedback form. Here is the feedback form, and always remember that I can always be better. This information is exactly how I currently see it as and want to share it with you. There's obviously a lot more reading and supplementary information that I can give you, but the gist of it is that there's many things that we think is abnormal based on the media or however we imagine people to be having babies when it can be a more natural, personalized experience. Um, so thank you, and please fill out the feedback form.